Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking about some pro tips on how to access and get the most out of Cisco TAC. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you have been here before, thanks for coming back. With that being said though, let's dive in and check it out. Alright, so to get started with TAC, you obviously need to be able to open a case. A couple different quick ways to do that. If it is a high severity case, a severity 1 or severity 2, you want to call the 1-800 number listed on the screen here. From a lesser priority perspective, you can email tac@cisco.com. This will generate a case, it'll generate an SR number, and you'll get an email back with that. It'll also log it in the support case manager, which I have the URL on the screen there. These are great ways to manage your lower severity cases. Speaking of severity level, severity 1, you're going to need to commit 24 hours a day to get this problem resolved. This is a network down, production network down, major business impact type of case. If you're on it 24 hours a day, or your Cisco partner is, Cisco will be as well if it's a severity 1 case. Similarly, severity 2 is going to get a lot of attention. Definitely during business hours, you're going to have all hands on deck for severity 2 case. Needless to say, with both of these, severity 1 or 2, you're not taking a lunch break if it's a severity 1 or severity 2. If you do have a little more flexibility, severity 3 is more of a degraded state. So this might be an edge port rather than an uplink port, so to speak. You're going to want to manage this type of case. This type of case can slip and get a little bit more drawn out if you let it. So definitely take note of some of my next steps here for severity 3 cases to make sure they don't stall out on you. Severity 4, this is a general information type of case, so if you need help finding documentation or information about a software package or something like that, severity 4 is probably going to be the category that you fall into. Alright, so some tips for opening a case. You might say, well, hey, all I got to do is fire off an email or make a phone call. Yes, that will get a case open, but to get to a resolution quickly, you want to follow some of these key pointers and things will go much better. First of all, include a full description of the problem. I have a network down problem. Okay, that's not descriptive. I have a switch that's down. I have a fiber optic uplink that's down. I have tried these particular things, right? And enumerate some actual details about the problem. In terms of details, you'll also want to include a network diagram. So if you're having some type of peering problem or something like that, include the network diagram, include some of the routing tables, whatever it might be that's relative or relevant to that problem is going to be very helpful. Similarly, and additionally, attach the show tech support command output. You want this information. This is actually basically everything about that device in particular. If you send this to Cisco, Cisco actually has some automated tools that will go through this information and pick out known anomalies or configuration, common misconfiguration items, those types of things. Likewise, known buggy versions of software, that type of thing, will be picked up with the automated tools when you upload show tech support. You want to include log messages, error messages, other details. If it's a software package and you see a pop-up, whatever type of details you can get, symptoms and so forth, you want to include that information as well. If you're going to include things that you've already tried to try and head off TAC from telling you to try those, you definitely want to do that, but you also want to include details about the results of your test because sometimes TAC may not trust that you actually know what you're doing, so they may ask you to do it again. The more details you can put in there, the more convinced they will be that you actually do know what you're doing. I always find it helpful to include the time zone or at least to open a case kind of in the middle of your time zone or work day, so to speak. So if I open a case at lunchtime or first thing in the morning, I'm going to have better luck getting someone in my time zone than if I open a case at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm more likely going to end up landing in a time zone with an engineer that's going to end up working either later in the day or really later in the day. Last but not least, if you're not in the US or depending on where you are in the world, maybe indicate language preference if English is not your primary language. And sometimes you get lucky and you can converse with someone a little bit more easily again if English is not your first language. If you have a case that is stuck or needs escalation, there is you're always able to ask for an escalation, right? Don't hesitate to ask for an escalation. You know, it'd be nice if you were nice about it, right? Like, hey, you don't know what you're doing, escalate this. Yeah, you know, you want to be a little diplomatic if you can, but you can always get an escalation. If it's a severity 3 or 4 case and the problem gets worse, right, move it up to severity 2 or severity 1. You can do this if you're not actively on the phone. You can actually call into the phone number. I do highly recommend calling into TAC rather than trying to do it via email, because a severity 3 case, the email or the update may not get looked at for a while. If you call in, you're going to get someone very quickly. They can pop the case and they can kind of get the ball rolling much quicker. Likewise, severity 1 and 2 cases, if the problem is kind of big time, you're probably already on the phone. If not, get on the phone and get you know, tell them that you need escalation and go from there. For a case that is like really stuck, you want to ask to speak with the duty manager. Now, the duty manager is specifically what you want to ask for. If you ask for the TAC engineers manager, that actually may be a different person. So the duty manager is a person who can actually go and allocate resources and shuffle things around. That is who you want to ask for if you're starting to get into a situation where you really have a problem. It's not going fast enough, the heat's kind of cranking, and you need to get this problem looked at quickly. Last but not least, you can contact your Cisco account team. Now, I'll be honest, they are going to do some or any of the steps that I described before, mainly contacting the duty manager. So contacting them is not necessarily going to help get things done quicker, although they may have some contacts and they can reach out to them. Last but not least, I want to leave you with the TAC Webex Bot. This is for the Webex you know, unified application where you can actually message with this bot. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, but I just wanted to show you some of the details. It does have the Ask the Bot links in the Support Case Manager. Also, you can find the bot by searching for it in the Webex client, like I said. There's a number of great benefits to it. You can actually interact with the TAC engineer through this, a little bit different way than doing it through email, which can get long and tedious. And the thing I don't like about email is when you reply all, it like makes the case note really long because it has all the stuff from before, you know, with email when you reply. So the TAC bot actually keeps the case notes cleaner, as well as like a whole bunch of other benefits. So definitely check that out. I'm actually going to put a link in the video description as well to Cisco's TAC bot, you know, kind of playlist. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have questions, comments, tips, or tricks, please leave them in the video comment section below. I have another video on how to actually add your CCO ID, your Cisco.com user ID, to service contracts, which helps you enable or allows you to open TAC cases on specific pieces of software and equipment. Definitely check that out. Bunch of other stuff coming. I always love to hear from you guys, so let me know if you have any other thoughts on this. With that being said, though, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.